Hey everyone, welcome back to PTE NAATI YouTube channel. This is Manmohit. Now in today's video, I am going to just continue the series for the full course for the PT exam that we have started, and that's the third video for this one. And this one is going to be about the reading module, which is obviously the third module of your PT exam. 5 topics in there. We'll go through all the 5 topics one by one in sequence. Any questions that you have after the video, you can leave them down in the comment section below and we can answer you guys as quickly as possible. If you need any one-on-one support from us, you can get in touch with us on Instagram or Facebook. We're always available over there. And yes, just this video is going to be for all the beginners out there who haven't given the PT exam before, and also for people who have given the exam before but are not able to get their scores, because all the tips and strategies would be shared in this one. So without wasting any further ado, let's dive straight into it. So in the reading module, you get about 5 topics, and here the time management would start. That means unlike the speaking and the writing module, you will not get separate time for every separate question. Here you would be given something like this: 20 minutes for 10 questions, 15 minutes, or let's say 25 minutes for 12 or 13 questions, something like this. And then your job is to divide the time by yourself based on how many questions have you got. Now this one becomes a bit challenging, but if you know how to manage the time based on the importance of the topics, you should still be all good, provided, like I said, if you know how to manage the time properly. There is a video in the description. I will put the link for that one there as well, how to manage the time in the reading section. You can watch that. That'll help you a lot to understand how to manage the time based on the questions and the amount of time that you get. So that's a very good video for you, for all of you. For the reading module, we get 5 topics: fill in the blanks, reading plus writing, followed by multiple choice, multiple answer, followed by reorder paragraph, followed by fill in the blanks, reading, and finally multiple choice, single answer. So these 5 topics. Let's understand all these 5 topics one by one. How important are they? How do we do them in the real exam? What things to take care, what things to avoid, and all that stuff. First topic in that regards is my fill in the blanks, reading and writing. Now, as the name says, fill in the blanks, reading and writing. So this is how the question will be looking like in the real exam. You get a paragraph, something like this, and you have to fill in the blanks. That means you would be given certain blanks in there like these, and then your job is to fill in those kind of blanks. Now it does say reading and writing. That means your marking is going to be contributed both in reading and writing, both in both of the modules. So the way this topic would work is, even though it says fill in the blanks, you don't actually have to grab a word from your side. Like you see in the given picture, they would be giving you 4 options. Least you can get is 3, maximum you would get is 4. You never get 5 options, 3 or 4 options. And out of those given options, you have to pick and choose the correct answer based on, obviously if you read out the sentence, you would be able to figure out which word sounds the best. So this is how this topic is, and you don't have to drag and drop, and you have to drop down the menu and then choose an option. This is why this type of fill in the blanks is also known as drop and down, or drop down fill in the blanks. Now just a basic one about this particular topic first. Now for the fill in the blanks, reading plus writing, you get 5 to 6 questions in the exam. You either get 5 or maximum 6. In terms of marking, this topic will give you marks in reading and writing both, because the name of the topic itself is fill in the blanks, reading and writing. Now reading because you have to read out this complete paragraph, and then writing because you have to, you're actually selecting the paragraph based on collocations and all. So they are giving you marks in reading and writing both. And in both of them, you would be getting about 25 to 30 marks out of 90. So extremely important topic. Even if you're aiming for 50, 65 or 79, this one is going to be a game changer in that. In terms of answering time, how much time you should be giving to this topic. So I'll say recommended answering time. Like I said, because you have to manage the time by yourself, you can give as much time as you want on every question, but obviously you wouldn't have enough time for every question. So my recommendation here would be prefer giving about 2.5 to maximum 3 minutes per question. That means if you get 5 questions, 2.5 to 3 minutes per question. So that should be all good. If you do that, you should be all good. You might be wondering until now, if I'm giving about 3 minutes per question, will I have enough time for the other questions? Like I said, yes, because there are certain topics which are not at all important and not as much important. So in that case, you would be able to save a lot of time from them. So for now, for fill in the blanks reading plus writing, 25 to 30 marks out of 90 is no joke. So 2.5 to 3 minutes per question is ideal. So this topic would be testing 3 things from you: grammar, vocabulary, and collocations. Grammar, we all know what grammar is, just like the sentence structure, grammar rules of a sentence, and all those kind of things. Vocabulary, as in the different complex words, different synonyms of a word, or these kind of things. And collocations simply means, if I divide the word into two, co-locations. Co means together, locations. So basically 2 words that come together. So any 2 words in any language that come together are going to be collocations. For example, we always say academic English, or academic literature, academic thesis. Any 2 words that come together. Heavy rain. If you think about it, we have been saying from our childhood days heavy rain, or today was a heavy rain. We never say, now heavy also has the synonym of, let's say, you can say great rain, or you can also say strong rain. You never say strong rain, you never say great rain, you always say heavy rain. Why? There's no reason behind it, it's just a collocation. That means these 2 words come together. That's why we speak them together, that's why we write them together. In the same way, you always say strong wind. Today was strong wind. You never say heavy wind. It just sounds odd. From the very beginning, we have been saying strong wind. That's why yellow here. Right? Something like this. Yellow here. Blonde here. Something like this. Now, yellow hair, blonde hair, do they have any difference in terms of the meaning? Look, when you speak them, both of them sound good. If I have to speak, I can even say yellow hair. It's nothing wrong in that. It's absolutely correct. But if I have to write it, and especially in the academic writing, yellow hair is not correct. We always say blonde hair. So this is one thing that we need to keep in mind, that how collocations work. And especially in this topic, because collocations are actually going to help you to solve about 50% of your blanks. This is how this important collocations is in fill in the blanks reading and writing. Vocabulary will help you solve about 30% of your blanks. Vocabulary, as in if you already know the meaning of the words, it just helps you to solve the answer, because if you know the meaning, you know how the sentence should be formed. You know if this word sounds good, if this word makes sense in the sentence or not. So vocabulary, extremely helpful. Grammar in this topic is not that important, but still about 20% of your blanks can be solved based on your grammar rules. I would be discussing a few grammar rules in the fill in the blanks reading topic, which I would be discussing just after this one, just after a couple of topics. So just be ready for that one. For now, understand how the collocations and everything would work. Purely a practice-based topic. No such tricks, I would say, that would work in this one, but purely based on how the collocations work. I would also attach the link. I'll also put down a link for the list of collocations, the academic collocations from the PTE's official website. There's about 2,500 of them. I'm not asking you to memorize all of them, but even if you just go through that list once in a while, that is a good habit, because you would be getting something similar from there in the real exam anyway. So if you have read through that list once or twice, your brain would be able to recall certain words in the exam, and that will help you to get more marks in this particular topic. Let's do this one example where they have given us 4 options. So we'll read it out from here. It was the highest mountain on earth, a fact that came as something of a surprise. So that means this mountain that they're talking about was the highest mountain in the world, but no one even knew about that. We know Mount Everest and all those mountains, but we never heard about Peak 15. So Peak 15 has seemed lost in the crowd of other formidable Himalayan peaks. So basically this mountain has been lost in the other mountains because all of the other mountains are so famous, no one know about this one. Many of which means mountains, many of those mountains gave the dash of greater height. So those mountains gave something of the greater height. So inclusion means being included. Including of greater height doesn't make any sense. Allusion means reference. So referencing of greater height. We always reference something to. This was a reference to him. This was a reference to that. Allusion of is grammatically wrong. Anticipation means expecting. Expecting of greater height. Now they're already of a greater height. Expecting of greater height again doesn't make any sense. Illusion of greater height. Illusion means something which is not real. Illusion of greater height. So all the other options didn't make any sense. Illusion of greater height is going to be my correct answer. So definitely a challenging topic, I would say, because if you would have read, all the 4 options were quite similar in terms of, I would say, spelling, and in terms of meaning, yes, they were different, but in terms of the way they look, they all were similar. So this is why this topic is extremely important and also challenging at the same time. So do practice hard, do practice a lot for this one, because you never know. If you see how much vocabulary would help you is over here as well. So I'm not asking you to memorize the complete dictionary, but at least go through the collocation list that I've given you, and also practice as many fill in the blanks reading plus writing as you can, because the more you practice, the more chances of you getting the same repeated questions in the real exam. And if you do, and even if you get 2 or 3 questions repeated, it will help you a lot, because your brain would be able to recall those answers. All right, so the next topic that we have in the PTE reading section is the reorder paragraph. Now, as the name says of the topic, reorder paragraph, this is how the question will look like in the real exam. You would be getting few sentences on the left hand side, and then your job is to reorder them, as in rearrange them to make sense, to make a complete paragraph. And the way you would be doing that is by putting the sentences onto the right hand side, and the way you would be doing that would be drag and drop. So you have to take a sentence from the left hand side and then drop it on the right hand side. So there's 2 ways of doing that. One is just hold that sentence and drop it on the right hand side. Second way is, if you can see these arrow keys which are given over here, you can also utilize them. So you click on a sentence, then you click on the arrow, and the sentence reverts back. And then if you want to revert back the sentence back to the left hand side, you just click on the sentence again, you just click on the left arrow, and the sentence will go back to its original position. So both options are available, but I would prefer using drag and drop. You just hold a sentence and put it on the right hand side. So that will help you. Now, for this particular topic, you will be getting number of questions, either 2 or 3. It is still the same even after the changes. So you get 2 or 3. In terms of marking, you only get 5 to 7 marks out of 90. In your reading module, the marks are not distributed anywhere. So not really an important topic, I would say, but still 5 to 7 marks. We'll try to get few pairs correct from there. In terms of recommended answering time, it should be 1 minute per question. We should not be giving it more than a minute, because it's not required. It's not that important. I would any day prefer giving fill in the blanks reading and reading plus writing more time, because those topics are that important, 25-30 marks roughly like that. Here it's not a lot of marks, so should not be giving it more than a minute. Now the way this topic would work is, in terms of scoring, what they are looking for from you is pairing, as in how many pairs can you get correct in the exam. Let's understand this, how this works. So for example, you have got 5 sentences over here. Let's say the correct sequence was, this sentence comes at number 1, this sentence comes at number 2. I'm just putting some random numbers. This at number 3, this at number 4, and this at number 5. Let's say that was my correct answer. Now the way you would be getting marks is, you will not be getting marks for putting every sentence at the correct position. You get marks for making a pair correctly. So for example, if this sentence and this sentence number 1 and sentence number 2 are coming together, these 2 sentences make one pair. In the same way, sentence number 2 and sentence number 3 make one pair. Sentence number 3 and sentence number 4 another pair. Sentence number 4 and sentence number 5 another pair. So in total, you are getting 4 pairs in 5 sentences. And that's always going to be the case. If you get 6 sentences, there'll be 5 pairs. If you get 4 sentences, there'll be 3 pairs. And if you get 5 sentences, there'll be 4 pairs. So we are getting marks for making pairs, not for every sentence at the correct position. Now, as an example, let's say, how do we get pairs correctly? So for example, I had 5 sentences with the A, B, C, D, and E. And then let's say that's the correct sequence as well. So these were the pairs that I was looking for. Now let's say one student in the exam, they have written their sequence like this. Okay, so that's the correct answer. And this is the actual answer, as in what the student has done in the exam. Now you might feel that every single sentence is at the wrong position as to what it was supposed to be. But like I said, we are getting marks for pairs. So let's see how many pairs am I getting right. D and E. Is D and E a correct pair? Yes, it is. As you can see, D and E is coming together. That means my one pair is correct. Is E and B a correct pair? E and B? No, it's not correct. Is B and C a correct pair? B and C? Yes, it is. As you can see, B and C is a correct pair. And is C and A a correct pair? Which, again, it's not. So that means even if all of my sentences are in the wrong position, as long as I'm making pairs, I should be all good. I'm getting 2 pairs out of 4 right. Now this is big. Now understand one thing, pairs is not equal to marks. Never. It's never going to happen. So forget about that one. So pairs are not equal to marks. That means if you get 4 pairs correct in one particular question, that doesn't mean you got 4 marks out of 90. It's definitely less than that. The best way to understand that would be, so for example, now I'll be giving it to you in a way if you're aiming for 65 or 79. For 50, it's even lower than that. For 50, I won't even suggest you to practice this at all. It's not required because there's other topics as well. But let's see how, or let's say if you're aiming for 65 or 79, this is what you need to do. So if anyone out here is aiming for 65 each, which is obviously 7 each equivalent, out of 4 pairs, as long as 1 pair is correct in each question, you should be all good in getting 65, provided obviously how well you perform in the other topics as well, which are actually important. But for reorder paragraph, even if it's 1 pair right, you should be all good. And for anyone who's aiming for 79 each, which is 8 each, as long as out of 4 pairs you're getting at least 2 pairs correct, you should be all good. Now when I say correct, I'm talking about average. That means if you get 2 questions and in one question you've got 3 pairs right, another one you've only got 1 pair right, still an average is about 2 pairs out of 4. So this is what Pearson is looking from you. On an average, getting minimum 2 pairs out of 4 right for 79 and minimum 1 pair out of 4 right for 65 each, and you should be all good in getting your reorder paragraph scores and obviously getting your 65 or 79. Now let's understand few pairing techniques for this particular topic. Now pairing techniques, now they will help you in certain way, one way or another, in order to get you few pairs in the exam. So let's understand what those pairing techniques are. Now for the pairing techniques, the first one, subject and object. All right, subject and object, which simply means that if you have 2 sentences, for example, Alex bought a new phone. The phone is green in color. Subject and object. Now, as you can see, Alex bought a new phone. This new phone is my object of the sentence. Any sentence is formed of 3 things: subject, verb, and object. And then they are starting the next sentence with the very same thing, which is the phone. So in that case, if my object and the subject of the next sentence are same, so they're ending the one sentence on the same thing, and then they're starting the next sentence on the very same thing, in that case, they will be making a pair. So I'll combine those 2 sentences, so they will come in sequence, and these are going to be my pair. The Alex bought a new phone. Another way to figure out that was these articles over here, A and the. A is used when we're talking about something in general. The is used for something when we're talking about something in specific. There is a book on the table. The book has 360 pages. A book, the book. Always general comes first and followed by specific. That's my pairing technique number 2. General followed by specific. General information always comes first, followed by specific information. A book which is general, the book which is specific. Something like this. So object becoming subject is one pairing technique. General comes before specific. That's another pairing technique. If you guys are taking notes, I would be going further with the other ones. So you can just pause the video here and you can just take notes of this one now. And for the third one, so this was general and specific. Now there's few more, and I'll put that as problem, solution, question and answer, cause and effect, tenses, or you can say tense rule, uncommon sentence. So these are few of the other pairing techniques. Now the rule for the first three is exactly same. Problem comes first followed by solution. Question comes first followed by answer. Cause comes first followed by effect. So if you have got two sentences and in one of the sentence they're giving us a problem, and then there's another sentence where they're giving us a solution for the same problem, in that case we'll combine those two sentences and that will form a pair for me. They may say COVID-19 has destroyed the entire world. That's a problem. Then scientists have developed a vaccine to curb that problem. Solution for the very same problem. In that case, I'll make a pair for these two sentences. Problem will come first, followed by solution. Same goes with question and answer. Question always comes first, followed by the answer for the very same question. So if you see a sentence which is asking a question, and then there's another sentence which is giving us a solution, in that case, those two sentences will form a pair. Cause and effect. Cause means something happened, and then what was the result of that? Or you can even call this as effect example or idea example, one and the same thing. So they give us something, some factual information, and then as an example which was a result of the very same idea. They might say something like the vaccine for COVID is very effective and it has cured so many people around the world. That's a fact. Let's hope that's a fact. And then they might say there are about 15 million people who have taken the vaccine and did not catch COVID, for example. Now, even if that's not true, that's perfectly fine. But what I'm trying to say over here is I gave a fact first and then I gave an example supporting that very same fact. So in that case, they'll form a pair. My idea will come first, followed by example for the very same idea. Afterwards, we have tenses. Now we all know we have got three tenses: past, present, and future. So like the name says, past, present, and future as in the tenses. Past will always come first, followed by present, and followed by future. So always remember this sequence: past, present, and future. Something happened in the past, something happening now, and something will happen in the future. They may even give you a question with certain years written in them. For example, something happened in 1950, something happened in 1980, something happened in 2000. Now, even the 2000 is past for me, but as per the question, 2000 is the future out of all the given sentences. So in that case, 1950 would be my first sentence, 1980 would be the second, 2000 would be the third. So this is how the tenses rule would work. And one final that we have is uncommon sentence. As the name says, a sentence which is not related to the complete paragraph will always come at the last position. For example, I've got 4 sentences. One sentence is talking about table, another is talking about chair, another is talking about table, and another one is also talking about table. So there's 3 sentences talking about the same thing, one sentence not talking about the same thing. in that case, that sentence doesn't matter what year or all that it falls under, it is always going to come at the last position. Why? It is just the rule, because that is not related to the paragraph. It ought to be coming to the very end. It has to come to the very last position. So these were some of the pairing techniques that can help you. Now, the way to solve this topic is, whenever you get a paragraph in front of you, my very first instinct and my very first step has to be to start finding the independent sentence, because that is going to help me to find out the other pairs for this one. Independent sentence simply means a sentence which is independent and the sentence which introduces the topic, introduces the paragraph. I'll read out all the sentences. If I see any pronouns in any of the sentences, I'll just do not do them. I'll just not select them as my first sentence, because they cannot say he is a good boy as my first sentence. They have to mention the name of the person. They have to introduce that person first before referring that person to their pronouns and all that stuff. Always and always look for the sentence which is introducing something for the first time. Once you find your independent sentence, then start making a story out of it. This is how I would be doing my reorder paragraph in 1 minute. Now, in 1 minute, as many pairs as I can make, that's all good. Once the 1 minute is over in the exam, I know it's a hard decision to make, but you have to make sure you move towards the next question. Just drag and drop the other sentences. There's no negative marking in this topic, but just move towards the next question, because you've still got fill in the blanks to do afterwards. Now let's try solving this question out over here. Okay, so as you can see, they're talking about Daud over here. Subsequently deposed the king and proclaimed a republic as a result of the souring. Now, as you can see, as a result of something happened. So this doesn't sound like my independent sentence. Daud subsequently deposed the king and proclaimed a republic in 1973. Okay, we'll consider that. An ethnic passion of noble birth, Daud held a series of military governmental posts before becoming Minister of Defense in 1946. So this year is 1973. This is 1946. This can never be my first sentence because of the tenses rule. So this can be. Next one says Daud was overthrown and assassinated. Assassinated means dead, which clearly shows me that it has to be last sentence, or at least it should not come at the first. It has to come at the very bottom. As Prime Minister from 1953 to 1963. So this one is 1953 to 1963. So out of all the sentences, this one is the oldest one. And as you can see, they haven't used any pronouns. They've introduced the person for the very first time. My third sentence will come first. So, an ethnic passion of noble birth, Daud held a series of military and governmental posts before becoming Minister of Defense in 1946 and the Minister of the Interior from 19. So he became Minister of this and Minister of that. That's fine. This one can't be. Afterwards, as a result of the souring of Pakistani-Afghan relations, have they mentioned about that anywhere? They did not mention. Then, as a Prime Minister from 19. So as you can see, they said that Minister of the Interior from this to this. As Minister of this from this, Daud sought to modernize the country, supporting rules permitting women to remove the veil in 1959. Perfect. So here they say Daud's cousin removed him from office. That means it's towards the very end. So obviously he became the Prime Minister first. Obviously then he would be removed from the office. So he has to become something first to be removed from a position. So this sentence, which is my fifth sentence, should come at the second position. After that, now it could be either one of them, 1973 or this sentence. Now here it says Daud subsequently deposed the king and proclaimed a republic in 1973, whereas as a result of the souring of Pakistani's Afghan relations, Daud's cousin removed him from office. So obviously he would have been removed from the Prime Minister position first, and then only he will proclaim a republic in 1973. So my third sentence has to be this one, sentence number 2, followed by he proclaimed a republic, and at the end he was assassinated. That means he was dead. So this one should come at the this is sentence number 4, so this one should come at the end. So this is my right sequence, 3, 5, 2, 1 and 4, and the way I would be getting my pairs would be, if you put 3 and 5 sentence together, it should form one pair. 5 and 2 together would make another pair. 2 and 1 would make another pair. 1 and 4 would make another pair. So in total, out of 4 sentences, I would be getting 4 pairs right. So this is how you would be doing reorder paragraph. Next topic is fill in the blanks reading. Now another type of fill in the blanks. This time it's just fill in the blanks reading, not reading and writing. So what would happen in this one is, as you can see, this is how the question would look like in the exam. You would get a paragraph with few blanks in there, and then this time you would be given options at the bottom. You wouldn't have to just click on the blank and a drop down menu appears. The options would be there at the bottom, and then you have to pick and choose the correct options in the given boxes. The number of options are always going to be higher as compared to the number of blanks. As you can see, they have given us 7 options, whereas they've only given us 4 blanks, and that's always the case. That's not a new thing. So your job is to pick out of the 7 ones and what are the correct 4 options, and the way you would be doing them is drag and drop. So this is why this topic is also known as drag and drop, that you have to drag and drop the option at the correct places. Now the way this topic would work is, in the exam you get about 4 to 5 different questions for fill in the blanks reading. Number of blanks in each question, it's about on an average 5 blanks. You can get 4, you can get 6, you can get 5. On an average it's about 5 blanks per paragraph. In terms of marking, you only get marks in reading, but it's about 20 to 25 marks out of 90, or different way to understand, 1 mark out of 90 per 1 blank. Extremely important topic. The more blanks you get right, the more marks you get. It's as simple as that. So even if you're aiming for 65 or 79, definitely a very important topic. And in terms of recommended answering time, for this particular topic, I would prefer again about 2.5 to maximum 3 minutes per question. So fill in the blanks, the reading, and fill in the blanks, the reading plus writing. These are the 2 topics where I would be giving the maximum amount of time because of how important these 2 topics are. For this particular topic, again, if I just create the same scenario from the fill in the blanks, the reading and writing, there are 3 skills that are needed to solve these ones: grammar, vocabulary, and collocations. All 3 skills are required, but here, because of the type of topic, the ratio would change. Here grammar is the most important. About 50% of your blanks would be solved purely based on the grammar part. Vocabulary, it's still going to be about 30%. Vocabulary is equally important in any topic in the reading module, and especially the fill in the blanks, because if you already know the meaning of the words, you probably know where that word should go. And collocations, here it's about 20%. So not that important, but still 20% of your total blanks would be collocations based. So here let's understand few grammar rules that can actually help you to get more blanks correct over here. These are again no proper tricks, I would say, for these topics. So very important topics, no such tricks. So you have to practice them a lot. But then at least these grammar rules that I'm just going to discuss with you now can help you to at least get few more blanks correct as compared to what you're getting right now. First grammar rule would be the preposition rule. Dash of dash. For example, now if you see the word of written in between, and either side of the word of is a noun as in noun we used to do in our school, like a name, a place, or a thing, like table, chair, Alex, David, any name of a person, anything, any place, all those things are called noun. The other side automatically becomes noun as well. So if one side is a noun, another side automatically becomes a noun. For example, if I say words, it's an abstract noun of wisdom. If one side is a noun, other side automatically becomes a noun as well. So that's one grammar rule. Another one would be dash by. Now by, we all know it's again a preposition. Now if you see a blank right before the word by, it is always going to be a verb in the past tense. Verb as in an action word, and that too in the past tense. Something like, for example, if I give you options like fly, flew, flying, I can't say fly by, I can't say flying by, My correct answer has to be flew by. So anytime if you see the word by and if there's a blank before that, it is always going to be a verb in the past tense. So that's a grammar rule for this. And there's another grammar rule I would say for the same concept, for the same verb, but this time, let's say, so that's my number 3 grammar rule, to dash. So to, if you see a blank after the word to, this time it is again going to be a verb, but this time in the present tense, present simple tense. For example, so this time if I give you the option fly, flew, flying, flew is in the past, flying is present, but it's present continuous, fly is present simple. So my answer has to be fly. So you can memorize this something like this. If you see to and a blank, so after the blank to, there has to be a verb in the present, and before the word by, it has to be verb in the past tense. So that's one way to memorize that, and this can help you in the exam by eliminating certain options based on what sort of words have you been given, if you are given to and a blank, or if you have been given by and a blank before. Next one is article rule, which simply means that now articles, we all know we have got a, an, and the. Okay, specifically about a and an. Now if you see, let's say the word a, and if there is a blank after that, and if the options you're left with is beautiful, astonishing, and any other word, for example. Now we know that a is always coming before a consonant sound, whereas an is always going to come before vowel sound. What are vowels? A, E, I, O, and U sounds. So any of these sounds, if we see the word, if we see any vowel sounding word, it has to be followed by the word an, and same goes with the other way around. Consonant sounds have to be followed by the word a. If we see the article a and there's a blank, a beautiful or a astonishing. A astonishing can't be my correct answer even if it sounds good. It has to be a beautiful, because beautiful B starts with a consonant sound. So that's the article rule. Next one we have is the helping verb followed by the main verb. So helping verb followed by the main verb. Helping verb as in is, am, are, was, were, has, have, had. All these kind of words are called helping verb. Main verb as in any action words, fly, flew, eat, sleep, talk, all these kind of words. If you see the word is or any of these words, and if there's a blank after that, it is always going to be followed by a main verb. Is eating, is sleeping, was talking, had spoken. So all these kind of words, helping verb is always going to be followed by a main verb. So that's another grammar rule. And then there's one more, which is the conjunction rule. And the way that would work is conjunction rule. Conjunctions as in kind of connectors, and, or, though, although, all these kind of words. Now, the way it would work is, if you see the word and written somewhere, and this, it's connecting two sentences, for example, it's say, so I'm just putting an example. So the lake overflew and the houseboat dash. So lake overflew and, which is my conjunction, and the houseboat dash. So something happened to the houseboat. So what would happen over here is, as you can see, and like I said, the rule of conjunction, what would happen is we have to have same tense on either side of the sentences. If the sentence before the word and is in past, the sentence after the word and has to be in the past tense as well. Same goes with present and future. So here they say is the lake overflew. Overflew is in the past tense. And the houseboat something. So houseboat, for example, the options are was damaged, damaging, will be damaged. So I'm just putting some random example, but I hope you understand the concept behind it. The lake overflew, past tense, and, which is my conjunction, the houseboat was damaged or rotted. Any word, but it has to be in the past tense. Why? Because before the word and, the tense that was given in the previous sentence was also in the past tense. So that's another way of finding out the correct answer. Now what we would be doing is, let's try to solve this question and understand and put these grammar rules and our logic into the place, just to see if we can get few right answers from the given question. So what it says is, although Botswana is rich in diamonds, it has high unemployment and stratified socio-economic classes. In 1999, the nation dashed its first budget deficit in 16 years. So nation dash its first budget deficit. So I clearly, by reading out the sentence, I can figure out that a verb is missing, an action word is missing, because there's no action happening in the sentence. So the nation dash. Endures is a verb, because it's not a verb. Enjoyed is a verb. Continent is not a verb. Remains is a verb. While is not a verb. Suffered is also a verb. Let's try to find and fit all these options. It says the nation dash its first budget deficit in 16 years. So nation dash its first budget. Nation endures its first budget. No, it's happening in the past, so it has to be in the past tense. This can't be my correct answer. Nation enjoyed its first budget deficit. Deficit means something negative, it went down, so they can't enjoy that. The nation dash its first budget, remains its first budget. Nah, nation suffered its first budget deficit. Suffered has to be my correct answer. In 16 years, dash of a slump in the international market. So because it is obviously making sense that they're saying it suffered its first budget deficit in 16 years because of a slump in the international diamond market. So because has to be my correct answer. The best part in the exam would be, once you drag and drop an answer over here, this option will disappear from here. So that will make it easier for you to keep a track of which options are done and which options are still remaining. So here the correct answer has to be because. Yet Botswana dash one of the wealthiest and most stable countries. So Botswana still remained one of the wealthiest and stable countries. Remains has to be the correct answer. On the African dash. So African something. African endures, African enjoyed, African continent makes sense. African while, African suffered doesn't make any sense. African continent. So as you can see, we can use certain grammar rules over here. Sometimes you have to understand the meaning of certain words to know, as in the vocabulary, so you can find the answer, and sometimes your logic will help you as well to get the correct answers. But the more practice you do, the better you would become in fill in the blanks, and that's with any other topic, but especially with the fill in the blanks reading and fill in the blanks reading and writing. The more you practice, the better you would become. So keep practicing a lot for these two particular topics because of how important they are. And the final two topics that we have are multiple choice single answers and multiple choice multiple answer. Now I did not discuss these topics in between because I just wanted to keep them in the end and just cover them as quickly as possible because of their importance. First of all, let's understand how these topics look and behave. Now for multiple choice single answers, this is how the question will look like in the real exam. You will have a paragraph on the left hand side. You will have a question on the right hand side followed by the options given over there. So your job is to, obviously, if it's a single answer, you'll see these little circles that are given. That simply shows that it's a single answer, and you have to just select one option out of it and then move on, obviously, to the next question. Now, as you can see, the next button over here, once you click next on this question or any other question in the exam, it's all done. You cannot go back to the previous screen. So what you need to do is, for this particular topic, you would be getting 1 to 2 questions in the exam. In terms of marking or in terms of scoring, you do not get any marks. Now I'm not saying 1 mark or 2 mark, I'm literally saying 0 marks out of 90, which simply means even if you get these questions wrong, it will not have even a single impact on your exam. Even if you get them right, you will still not gain any marks. Now your question to me could be, then why is Pearson having these topics in the exam in the first place if they're not giving any marks? The reason for that is, when the PTE exam was launched, these multiple choice questions used to be of a significant importance. They used to carry a lot of marks, but over the years, Pearson has simplified their exam. They've changed the structure of their exam. So they did not change the exam. They still had the same topics, but they removed the importance of the topics from here, from multiple choice questions, and they put the importance towards fill in the blanks. So that is why the topic still exists, but you do not get any marks, which simply means my recommended answering time in multiple choice questions has to be 10 seconds per question. Now, when I say 10 seconds per question, just think about it. Is there any way that you can, in 10 seconds, read out the question, options in the paragraph and find the correct answer? Absolutely not possible. In 10 seconds, you can't do that. So what I want you to do in those 10 seconds is just select any option. Could be A, B, C, D, doesn't matter. Just select one option, click on the next button and move on. I know it's hard to comprehend. I know it's going to be challenging in the exam because you have paid so much fee, time, energy, resources, everything, and you want to get every single question right. But these are the type of questions which I call them as trap questions. Pearson have given these kind of topics just to trap you, just to trap your time that you give towards them. If you give more than 10 seconds, you're not gaining anything. I would be smart in the exam by just giving 10 seconds to this topic, selecting something and moving on, because I'm not gaining any marks. Same rule applies with multiple choice, multiple answer. The only difference here would be there's multiple options given to you, and then there would be minimum 2 and maximum 3 correct options. Now, again, it's 0 marks out of 90. So you may ask me, do I just select one option? Do I select 2 options, or do I select 3 options? If I were you, what I'll do is I'll just select 2 options, and any 2 options. Again, it's not a specific criteria. You just select number 1 and 2, or select 2 and 5. Just select 2 options. You can even select 3, doesn't matter, but just select 2 options, click on the next button and move on. They're literally worth 0 marks. If you're spending any more than 10 seconds, you're just jeopardizing your other topics. I would any day prefer saving time from these topics so that I can give that time towards my fill in the blanks topics, which actually carry a lot of marks. This is one thing that you need to understand, and especially people who are coming from the IELTS exam. It's a completely different exam. Do not get confused with either of them. In IELTS, every single topic, every single question is important. Here, you have to be smart about which tasks are important, which tasks are not important. Now, when I say 0 marks, if your question to me could be, what if I'm aiming for a perfect 90? Can I get that? Absolutely yes. So many, I can't even count. So many of our students have got a perfect 90, including us, obviously, when we gave the exam. Multiple choice questions, you leave them, you attempt them, you get them right, you get them wrong, they do not matter. Back in 2015, when PT was there, yes, these multiple choice questions used to be important. They used to carry a lot of marks, but since then they have changed it. Now, I'm not saying Pearson cannot change that in the future. Yes, they can. If they change the scoring of multiple choice, yes, we would be one of the first ones to obviously update you that, okay, they have changed it. But just be rest assured, for now, they haven't done that in the last 7 years or so. They're still at the 0 marks. So according to me, they're not gonna just increase the marks all of a sudden for multiple choice questions when they do not make any sense. So feel free to not practice them. It's not required. Just focus on the other 3 topics that we have just discussed in the reading module, and you should be all good. Obviously, like I said, even if you're aiming for a perfect 90, still, even if you get these multiple choice questions wrong, you will not lose any marks. And this is all about to understand in multiple choice questions. No need to understand the strategies and what to do, how to get the correct answer. It's not going to happen in 10 seconds. So just select any option for single answer and just select 2 options or maximum 3 for the multiple questions and move on. So this is what I wanted to discuss about the reading module for the full course video. There's just one more video left for this one, and that's about the listening, which should be out by next week. So 3 parts are already done for your full course. Everything available over there. Take good notes. Like I said at the beginning, if you have any sort of questions, you can leave them down in the comment section below. If you need any one-on-one support with me and Mohit, you can message us on Instagram and Facebook, and we can discuss over there. You can search for M&MMPT NAATI, or the links are there in the description. Using that, you can reach us. If you need any support for NAATI exam as well, we have got that: NAATI Gujarati, NAATI Hindi, and NAATI Punjabi. Coaching, prediction file, consultations, all those things are available. All the best if you have got your exams coming soon. Great sharing with all of you again. And yep, I'll see you guys in the next one.